ડન છે. ઓકે, સો લાસ્ટ પોઈન્ટ ઓફ વ્યૂ આપણો જે આ ચેપ્ટરની અંદર બાકી રહી ગયો છે દેટ ઇઝ બાયોજીઓકેમિકલ સાયકલની અંદર કાર્બન સાયકલની વાત આપણે કરવાની બાકી છે. દેન વી આર એન્ડિંગ ધીસ ચેપ્ટર એન્ડ વી આર સ્ટાર્ટિંગ ચેપ્ટર નંબર 13 later on, right? Fine. So let us think about the carbon cycle. As we have discussed earlier, there are so many mineral nutrition, right, which are getting circulated between the living organism and its surrounding medium, specifically through the soil, and that is why these kind of cycle have been referred to be as biogeochemical cycle, right? One of them, there are two categories of biogeochemical cycle. One is sedimentary cycle, where resource is the soil, and the other is sedimentary, the other is gaseous cycle, right? Gaseous cycle example is carbon, and sedimentary cycle example is sulfur. So the carbon cycle, where the carbon dioxide is a source of carbon for plants, as we have discussed earlier yesterday. So this is actually a kind of the gaseous cycle what we have discussed yesterday, right? So carbon, where reservoir of the carbon, if we conclude, so main reservoir of carbon is the ocean floor for us, right? So ocean covers approximately 71% of dissolved carbon in the form of carbon dioxide or sedimentation. We as an organism have got 49% of the carbon which is stored in our body as biomass, as dry weight, and only 1% of the carbon is into the atmosphere in the form of varieties of the formats like carbon dioxide and the other. So for us, the ultimate source of carbon or reservoir of the carbon, atmosphere covers only 1%. Varieties of the organism covers maximum of the 49%, and ocean floor covers approximately 71% of the carbon. Ocean is the medium which regulates the amount of atmospheric carbon dioxide. Do remember this. Atmospheric carbon dioxide એનું જે concentration format છે 0.3%, that is getting maintained by whatsoever quantity of the carbon dioxide present into the ocean floor, right? Earlier, when I have discussed about the photosynthesis process and fixation of the production of the biomass, at that time I have told you once that ocean floor is responsible for production of the oxygen at a large quantity. So they fix carbon dioxide at a large quantity, right? So fixation એનું large quantity માં કરે છે, means they produce large quantity of biomass. If they produce large quantity of biomass, they utilize the biomass at a large quantity, and again they produces carbon dioxide at a large quantity. So that is the first point of view we are about to think and correlate with that phenomena of oxygenic production, which is largest by ocean floor. So if oxygen production also is largest, then carbon dioxide production is also largest by the ocean floor organisms. Do remember this, please, right? Okay, one of the reservoir for the carbon is fossil fuel, petroleum and natural gas, what we say, right? So that is also one of the carbon reservoir for us. Carbon cycling occurs through atmosphere, ocean, and through living and dead organisms. So what we are considering while we are discussing the carbon cycle is 1, ocean floor, number 2, atmosphere, and number 3, living organism or dead organism. So organisms, right? So these are the 3 points of consideration for us with respect to understanding the cycle of carbon dioxide. Okay, I am starting with atmospheric carbon dioxide and the ocean floor here. If you refer this diagram, it is given into your book, right? So between these two, say for example, carbon dioxide is getting fixed by the organisms which are present inside this ocean floor, they are converting them into the biomass, releasing the oxygen at a large quantity. So they have the large quantity of the biomass which are stored in their bodies. They are utilizing them, they are converting them. One most important thing we are considering here is એમાં એક detritus food chain છે that they have very less role into maintenance. Am I correct? So into the maintenance of this food cycle or food web, detritus food cycle has very limited role to play, and that we know. So whatsoever quantity of the food or biomass is available, it will be getting circulated into the grazing food chain largely. Fine. So that's point of consideration. So there is no very minute quantity of the detritus here. It will be consumed by the planktons, zooplanktons. Majority of them will be consumed by the zooplanktons. So that's why they are producing oxygen at a large quantity. They are consuming the carbon dioxide at a large quantity. Again, with respiration, they are producing carbon dioxide at a large quantity. So do remember this, they are also producing carbon dioxide at a large quantity. So that's the oxygen, right, which is getting fixed. And with respect to respiration now, jetla bhi organism chhe aya, they also respire, right? When they respire, they produce carbon dioxide and get carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere. So for the fixation point of view, they do photosynthesis, and with respect to their respiration, they produce carbon dioxide back, send into the atmosphere, and so this cycle continuously going on. Fixation, release, fixation, release, fixation, release. So that is the first cycle which is between atmosphere and ocean floor organisms. I hope it is very clear. Okay, second cycle between whatsoever organisms which are present on the land, terrestrial ecosystem. Aqueous ecosystem ની વાત હતી. Now second terrestrial ecosystem ની હું જ્યારે વાત કરીશ, what is most important point of view is whensoever there is a fixation is done by only producers. So they fix, they convert the biomass, they produce the biomass, they convert the biomass into the plant to animals. So animals will store them. So plant have them, animal have them, they both are storing the biomass. That is what written here is 49% of the dry weight. So it is stored inside the organism's body. So now they have two measures of releasing carbon. Either detritus they form when they die, or when they are living, they release the carbon dioxide in the form of respiration. When they do respiration, they release carbon dioxide. So there must be one additional arrow here. અહીંયા એક arrow હોવો જોઈએ. અહીંયા upward arrow, and that shows the respiration by living organism. Understood? Which is not here. અહીંયા છે નહીં, પણ હોવો જોઈએ. So they release, જો આ બી રિલીઝ કરે respiration ને, આ બી રિલીઝ કરે respiration ને, અને આ બી રિલીઝ કરે respiration ને. Respiration થી carbon dioxide release કરે back into the atmosphere through the process of their own metabolic activities. Understood now? That is not given here, but it must be there. Okay, if they form detritus, there are two kind of things which must be happening. Ek, અહીંયા detritus forms the humus. If it is humus, that biomass will be utilized by detritus food chain, or it will be reserved as the mineral. So mineral bani hai. Mineral is permanent storage of carbon, right, or long time storage of carbon that will be unavailable for reutilization. Understood? So that's the natural method of circulation of the carbon dioxide between terrestrial organism and atmosphere. Now some calamities, right, they shows them some kind of calamities. I mean, જંગલમાં આગ લાગે, say for example, આપણે આગ લગાડીએ, those kind of activity, burning of anything, volcanic activity, those kind of activities will release the carbon dioxide largely. They will release the carbon dioxide largely, right? So burning of forest fuel wood and organic debris. હવે આમાં એરો આમ ઊંધો છે ભૂલથી. કાર્બન ડાયોક્સાઇડ એમાંથી અંદર ન જાય, બહાર નીકળે. So that arrow must be upward arrow. Do correct it, right? If it is upward or downward reversely depicted there, then you are supposed to correct it. જો મારામાં અહીંયાથી આમ આપ્યો છે એવું છે, એમ ન હોય, આમ જ હોય ને. કાર્બન ડાયોક્સાઇડ રિલીઝ થાય તો ઉપર જાય, કોઈ દી નીચે ના આવે. Understood? So carbon dioxide which is getting released by burning, it will be released into the atmosphere. Do remember this, right? And last is fossil fuel, right? Fossil fuel, when we burn, definitely carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide is getting produced, and that will be released into the atmosphere. So that's what the story of carbon cycle into the atmosphere, between living organism and soil, right? So there are three things what we are considering. Now few facts which are associated with the carbon cycle. 4 into 10 raised to 13 kilogram of carbon is fixed into the atmosphere through the photosynthesis annually. જે આખા biosphere ની વાત કરી છે. Whatsoever quantity of producers which are found into the biosphere, they fix carbon dioxide by photosynthesis. The quantity is 4 into 10 raised to 13 kilogram a year annually એવું આપ્યું છે. સો આ ફોટોસિન્થેસિસમાં કાર્બન ડાયોક્સાઇડ ને ઇનપુટ કરી અને ગ્લુકોઝ પ્રોડક્શન ની વાત કરીએ તો કેટલો કાર્બન ડાયોક્સાઇડ એન્યુઅલી ફિક્સ થાય with all the producers whatsoever present into the biosphere is 4 into 10 raised to 13 kilogram of carbon. Annual fixation થાય છે. Do remember this figure is very important for you, right? Okay, a major amount of carbon returned into the atmosphere as carbon dioxide through respiration. The major carbon dioxide is returning back to the atmosphere by our respiration, where burning of glucose is happening and carbon dioxide is released out into the air and through air in the into the atmosphere. Okay, now processing of waste and dead organic matter, that is decomposition, right? So when we are living, we are doing respiration, point to be noted, right? When we are living, we are doing respiration, right? So our body, whatsoever quantity biomass we are having, we are releasing carbon dioxide from it, say for example, right? But when we are dead, then also biomass is there, biomass is present in our body. Now, what is the fate of that carbon dioxide or carbon whatsoever stored in our body? It also has to be broken down and carbon dioxide has to get released, and that's the job of decomposer. So when we are dead, decomposer has got role to convert our biomass into the carbon dioxide and release back into the atmosphere. So when we are living, we are releasing carbon in the form of carbon dioxide by respiration. When we are dead, decomposers will get that job to convert our biomass into the carbon dioxide and release back into the atmosphere. I hope it is very, very clear into your mind. Okay, some amount of carbon dioxide or carbon is lost to sediment and removed from the circulation, as I said here when I was discussing this matter. કે અહીંયાથી જ્યારે dead થાય, so dead material, detritus માં જ્યારે leaching થાય, decomposition when we have studied, leaching results into permanent storage of few quantity of minerals called mineralization. So they will release, they will penetrate deep inside the soil and made them unavailable. If it is unavailable, it is not into the circulation. So mind it very well. By leaching, carbon will fixed deep inside the soil floor, and then it will not be available or it will be removed from the circulation, right? So sedimentation will make it unavailable again for the circulation. Okay, last abe, burning of normal forest, burning of fossil fuel. So burning of wood, forest fire, combustion of organic matter, fossil fuel, volcanic activity are all together releases large quantity of carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere, right? So that's what the story of the carbon dioxide. release back into the atmosphere. કઈ રીતના આપણે back into the atmosphere કાર્બન ડાયોક્સાઇડ ને રિલીઝ કરીએ છીએ, રાઈટ? એન્ટ્રી કેવી રીતના થાય? How living organism gets carbon dioxide? It is by fixation. That is photosynthesis માં. Understood? અને back કેમ જાય? Respiration and decomposition. બેનાથી. So this is a general story, short story of carbon cycle. Now comes additional effect. Human roles, human activities to interfere the carbon cycle. Deforestation, burning of fossil fuel at a large scale has increased the rate of increase of carbon dioxide into atmosphere. હવે deforestation થાય, deforestation, so absorption of carbon dioxide or fixation of carbon dioxide reduces naturally. Say for example, Amazonian rainforest. So a large quantity of the forest has been destroyed, which is also called as lung of the earth. So that has been damaged. So naturally carbon dioxide fixation process has been disturbed, and the large quantity of carbon dioxide whatsoever has been accepted or has been consumed by that forest is no more consumed, and that quantities remain into the atmosphere, right? બીજું છે burning of fossil fuel continuously. એક જ ઘરની અંદર તમે વાત કરો તો 4 vehicle હોય, હલાવવાવાળા 2 જ હોય, right? So we have lot of vehicles which are producing huge quantity of the fossil carbon dioxide, I mean fossil fumes which are having large quantity of carbon dioxide. So we are adding additional carbon dioxide continuously to the atmosphere, and we are removing the forest cover. So that makes carbon dioxide quantity more, increases the carbon dioxide more into the atmosphere, and that is leading to very serious problems of increase in the temperature, disturbance into the seasons, right? Abnormal raining, abnormal hot conditions, abnormal cold conditions, unpredictable weathering. So those are mostly the effects are concerned with the carbon dioxide increase into the atmosphere, right? So greenhouse effect is very common, but these are very unpredictable. Greenhouse effect is predictable, but મેં જે કીધું એ change into weather pattern એ બધું that is unpredictable. So આ બધી unpredictable effects which are getting shown by these disturbances. Okay, now comes the phosphorus. Phosphorus ને હું આ એક સિંગલ ડાયાગ્રામમાં તમને એક્સપ્લેન કરી દઉં છું very shortly, right? So say for example, the source of the phosphorus is rocks. So rock we have. હવે rock નું leaching થયું, say for example by lichens. ગઈકાલે આપણે વાત કરી હતી lichens, right? So lichens when start establishing on large rocks, they will erode the top surface. Then after rain comes or through the air current, it will be spreaded, mixed, and makes the soil. So when it is mixed with the water, it will make soil solution. So the quantity of the phosphorus which were present in the rock will make a soil solution, penetrating the top layer of the soil. So soil ની અંદર જ્યારે soil solution બને, so it has two fate again. There is two way. Either it will be consumed, uptaken by producers, કાં તો plants એને રહી લેશે root માં, or else it will be deeply penetrated back into the soil, deeply into the soil, and it will make another rock, right? So કાં તો ઈ બીજો rock બનાવશે અને કાં તો ઈ plant માં વહી જશે. Phosphorus. Now what is role of phosphorus? Nucleic acid, right? In a formation, yesterday we had a talk about it, and say for example ATP, adenosine triphosphate. So it is energy currency, largest role of phosphorus what we have. So phosphorus when uptaken by producers, it will be stored, it will be utilized by them, and from producer it will reach to consumer. It will be there. તો બેની બોડીની અંદર ફોસ્ફરસ છે, રાઈટ? બે ડેડ થાય, આ બી ડેડ થાય, આ બી ડેડ થાય, it will form the detritus. ડેટ્રીટસ ક્યાં જાય? સોઇલની અંદર. સોઇલની અંદર શું કરે? સોઇલ સોલ્યુશન, કોલોઇડ સોલ્યુશન, ઇફ યુ રિમેમ્બર. સો દે વિલ ફોર્મ કોલોઇડ સોલ્યુશન વિચ હેવ ટુ ફેટ. કાં તો ઈ રોક મિનરલ બનાવશે પાછું, અને કાં તો ઇટ વિલ બી અપટેકન બાય પ્રોડ્યુસર્સ અગેન. સો that is very short story of the phosphorus cycle once again, right? Phosphorus has been stored in our body into the form of either endoskeletal or exoskeletal. Animals ની અંદર skeletal માં હોય, right? દાંતમાં છે, right? Skeleton system માં છે, બધામાં સ્ટોર થયેલો હોય છે. So that's phosphorus for you. લાસ્ટ પોઈન્ટમાં એન્વાયરમેન્ટલ સર્વિસીસ નામનો પોઈન્ટ છે કે નહીં? જુઓ તો. કે અહીંયા ચેપ્ટર પૂરું થાય છે? પૂરું થઈ ગયું ને? ઓકે. સો ચેપ્ટર અહીંયા જે પૂરું થાય છે એ પહેલા જે પોઈન્ટ પહેલા હતો, અત્યારે નથી, મેં તમને કીધું, એન્વાયરમેન્ટલ સર્વિસીસ. જસ્ટ ખાલી એટ એ ગ્લાન્સ હું વાંચી દઉં છું કે ઇકોસિસ્ટમ સર્વિંગ અસ a large services. I mean, there are many benefits we are getting out of it. એનું એક લિસ્ટ તમને વાંચીને સમજાવી દઉં ખાલી ફાસ્ટ ફોરવર્ડ કરીને, રાઈટ? પેલું, પ્યુરિફાય ધી એર એન્ડ વોટર, ફર્સ્ટ રોલ, રાઈટ? બીજું, મિટિગેટ ડ્રાફ્ટ એન્ડ ફ્લડ. મિટિગેટ મીન્સ અટકાવે છે, નથી થવા દેતું, રાઈટ? થર્ડ, ન્યુટ્રિયન્ટ સાયકલને રન કરે છે, એઝ વી હેવ અન્ડરસ્ટુડ જસ્ટ બિફોર ફ્યુ મોમેન્ટ્સ. જનરેટ્સ ધી ફર્ટાઇલ સોઇલ. આપણા માટે, લિવિંગ ઓર્ગેનિઝમ માટે ફર્ટાઇલ સોઇલ જનરેટ કરે છે. પ્રોવાઇડ વાઇલ્ડ લાઈફ હેબિટેટ. એનિમલ્સને રહેવાની જગ્યા આપે છે. પ્લાન્ટ્સને એસ્ટાબ્લિશ થવાની ફ્લોર, જગ્યા આપે છે. મેન્ટેન બાયોડાયવર્સિટી. બાયોડાયવર્સિટી એટલે ટાઈપ્સ ઓફ ઓર્ગેનિઝમ. તો જે ટાઈપની હેબિટેટ્સની અંદર ફેસિલિટીઝ હશે, રિસોર્સિસ હશે, ધોઝ કાઇન્ડ ઓફ ઓર્ગેનિઝમ્સ વિલ બી એસ્ટાબ્લિશ્ડ ધેર. Though they are microorganisms to plants, to animals, to fungus, બધા એની અંદર હશે. Pollinate the crops. There are many organisms which resides inside the ecosystem, and ecosystem has given them particular roles to pollinate the varieties of the flowering plants. Provide storage site for the carbon. Just before few moments we have discussed about it. Provide aesthetic, cultural and spiritual value. Right? હવે ઈ આખો philosophical point થઈ ગયો. Aesthetic value, cultural value and spiritual value. Aesthetic એટલે આપણને મજા આવે એવી. આજ તો aesthetic નો જમાનો છે અત્યારે તો, photography બધા aesthetic બનાવે. Means decorative, what I mean. So it provides beauty, what I mean. It provides the beauty around you. તમને ગમે, ફોટો પડાવો ગમે, કે હાલો તો આ વાવ કેવું સરસ છે, હું અહીંયા ઊભો રહી જાઉં, તમે ફોટો પાડી દો, લાઈક ધેટ. એસ્થેટિક. બીજું કલ્ચરલ. અવર કલ્ચર, આઈ મીન હેરિટેજ. હિમાલય, say for example, it is our culture, part of our culture. Himalaya associated with Indian identity, I mean, what I mean to say. Gir forest is identity of Gujarat region. Right, so it is a culture which is associated with and some spiritual value. Say for example, આમ જોવા જઈએ તો બધા માતાજી ક્યાં બેઠા હોય તો કે on the top, હે ને? So even ગિરનાર ઉપર ઘણા બધા મંદિરો છે. So usually એ એટલા માટે કરવામાં આવે, point to be noted. આપણા વડવાઓને ખબર હતી કે આપણે કેવા થઈ જશું એમ, રાઈટ? તો બધી જગ્યાએ મંદિર બેહાડી દો તો એ એને બચાવશે. So that's why they have associated spiritual, some kind of attachment with that kind of natural resources. તો એને કારણે આપણે એને બહુ હળી ના કરીએ અને બચી જાય એમ. સો અલ્ટિમેટ વિઝન આપણા ફોર ફાધર્સ નું એવું હતું એમ કે ભાઈ અહીંયા મંદિર બનાવી નાખો એટલે આ એને રહેવા દેશે, બાકી આને હોરી નાખશે એમ. સો આપણી વેલ્યુની એને ખબર હતી કે આપણી ભવિષ્યની પેઢી આવી જ થવાની છે. સો દે હેવ ગિવન the spiritual value to this kind of natural resources. આપણે નદીઓને માતા કહીએ ભાઈ, ગંગા મૈયા અને યમુના મૈયા અને like that. So it has been attachment with the spiritual values, right? Fine. વધારે ડિસ્કશન આપણે એટલા માટે નથી કરવું કે એટલું ડીપ છે નહીં, આપણે નીકળી ગયું છે, બટ જસ્ટ ઇન્ટ્રોડક્શન મેં તમને આપ્યું છે. So just give me a 2 minutes break so that I can change the add the topic of chapter number 13.